Think Realty Nation. It's your host, Abhi Golhar. Welcome to the Think Realty podcast. Excited to have you with me today. We're talking about a lot of important topics for those of you that are new real estate investors, pro real estate investors. You want to pay attention to today's show. We're talking about markets that make sense for investors and why you should consider some of these markets. You know, listen, I live in Atlanta, and sometimes I feel Atlanta's a little saturated. So where do I go next, and how do I know? And then, once we finish up with my guest today, we'll be talking about the most popular inbound markets and the most popular outbound markets where people are moving in and out of for 2020. Let's get the show started. We can't do the show without the support of our sponsors. Today's sponsor is Real Property Management, which is the largest residential property management franchise in North America, managing tens of thousands of properties for individuals, investors, and institutions throughout the country. Learn more at realpropertymgt.com or call 888-806-7088. So my guest today is Steve Rozenberg with My Property Management, or My ND Property Management, right, Steve? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, Mynd, M-Y-N-D.
Yeah. Mynd. There we go. I don't know why I didn't put like two and two together. I should have been able to figure that out. But no, certainly appreciate you joining us. Give us a little background on who you are and what you do.
Sure. Formerly owned a property management company out of Houston, Texas called Empire Industries.
Okay.
And we sold that within the last 6 months, joined Mynd Property Management with them. Basically Mynd manages about 10,000 properties in 16 different regions, and a very fast, effectively growing property management company. And my role essentially with them, which was similar to my role in my past life with the company that I owned, is I am the investor facing side of the ambassador of the brand. So I'm the one that I go out with my team and we educate people on real estate, discuss why they should or shouldn't buy in certain areas, why certain things make sense based on strategies, goals, and other things. And basically what I do is I am the one who tells people sometimes no, they shouldn't buy it based on their goals, based on their strategies, based on their structure, which sometimes they don't have any of the above already set. And my background prior is I'm an investor that made a lot of mistakes, we'll say. And I also learned a lot of those mistakes, and that's what helped grow my company, my management company. The caveat to everything that I do is I'm also an airline pilot. So
nice.
My thing is I tell people, don't tell me you can't do something, because I fly a full career as an airline pilot. I'm in Sydney, Australia right now. It looks like I'm in some weird room. It's like 2 a.m. And I explain to people that you can do it if you have the right structure and you understand how leverage works and you understand how to utilize the tools of, that are at your disposal as an investor and as a business person. And sometimes you just need to tell them what they already know and just kind of explain to them that there are better ways to do things.
And that's right. And so as an airline pilot, you see a lot of different markets. You're flying all around the world, all around the country. What are some markets that are some of your favorites right now that you're taking a look at? And then we'll get to why investors should maybe consider diversifying across, say, market A, B, C, and D, instead of only being all in on one market. So what are some of your favorite markets?
Sure. Well, obviously, being in Houston, Texas, and understanding the Texas market, I really like. I do like Texas. I like Houston. Houston and Fort Worth are very good for me based on my goals and what I'm doing. I'm also taking a look at Raleigh-Durham and places like Raleigh on the East Coast, maybe trying to get a little bit closer to the water cities. I know you mentioned earlier about Atlanta being oversaturated. What's funny is from the outside looking in, I've actually been thinking a little bit that I may start going into Atlanta once it settles down a little bit, because it is a little bit hot. And then I'm doing some other stuff where I'm in some mobile home funds, and I do some other types of investing as well. So I think that's a tough question to answer based on what my strategy is and based on what my goals are. So I caution people to not just take my advice, that they've got to educate themselves, because what I'm doing may be a completely different game than what someone else may be doing, where they're going to go, man, Steve said you should buy here and I'm going bankrupt now because of him. Thanks a lot, Steve. It's like, well, I have a different strategy than you. It may not fit what you're doing because, financially it may not be feasible or whatever the reason is. So those are the reasons I like it. What I look for personally when I'm looking at a solid city is I want to look at multiple streams of businesses coming in, meaning not just one industry. I want to see that it's not a turnover city, that I'm not reliant upon, military cities are great until the military downsizes.
Right.
Then the cities are not so great. And when you're relying upon that, that makes me nervous. So I look to make sure it's stabilized by a lot of inbounds, and it's not just one, and it's not seasonal, and the chances of it crashing are not, meaning a tourism town is great until tourism doesn't work in that city anymore.
That's right. So a city like Miami, for example, is a great example of just like you. I don't invest in Miami because Miami like cannibalizes itself. You have a bunch of different little pockets all cannibalizing themselves. But you also take a look at Miami being only tourist, and there's not a whole lot there, right? You have the University of Miami, but like this, what else is Miami known for? I still like, when I think Miami, I think like Will Smith's song Miami. Like that's I think Miami, tourism, a great time, but I don't think any major industry. And so Miami, probably not on my bucket list of investment markets to take a look at. But like you said, I'm also looking for markets that don't have a lot of turnover, where you're not going to go into market and say, okay, well, here's a business industry, and this industry is leaving 5 years later. So that's a really, really good point. You're also going to be speaking at on a panel at the Think Realty Conference and Expo in Baltimore from March 21st to 22nd. And is this something that you're going to be talking about, or do you have some additional maybe gold nuggets for us that you want to kind of spill on the show today, maybe teasing us to why we might want to come take a look at the panel you'll be speaking on?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be speaking on that on the panel, but I'm also going to be talking, in my opinion, that, the biggest challenge why investors fail, or why I've seen investors fail over the last almost 20 years, myself being one of them, I'm in that bucket myself at one point, is they never learn to set the proper goals, and they never learn to have the right strategy to achieve those goals. They always do what you kind of asked. They ask me the question, and then they take that and they run with it before they've even set their goals. So they just want to get on a freeway. They don't know where they're going. And they get on the freeway and they don't even realize they're going the wrong way, in the wrong direction, with the wrong people, taking the wrong advice, and then it fails. So I explain why this is so scary for investors, and that understanding a piece of real estate is it's a inanimate financial vehicle. It's four walls and a roof. It doesn't matter. It's like owning a stock. I don't care if the stock is in New York. I don't care if it's in Connecticut. I don't care if it's in Arizona. It's giving me a return. So you do it based on returns and numbers, not based on location, not based on what people are saying. The data will tell you. If you listen to the data, it will give you a story if you are willing to listen to it.
So a lot of investors will say, well, Steve, I mean, location is everything. What do you say to somebody like that?
I would say that is one piece of a five-piece puzzle. And yes, that is a contributing factor. However, again, if I lived in San Francisco, right, you could say San Francisco Bay Area is great. However, I could probably buy one property if I'm a new investor, and I will be what's called negative geared. I will have a negative cash flow on that property. I own $1 million asset, but my rent is, equal to 1.2 million. So I'm not making any money. I'm losing money. So what's my sustainability? It's a great location. It works really good, but it's not part of my goal. The numbers don't dictate that deal makes sense for me. It makes sense for people if you can sustain a negative geared property and you're going for appreciation. Yes. So yes, location is important. That goes back into the streaming of what type of industry is feeding that city, and where is the revenue coming from that supports the employment? And is employment contracting or is it growing as far as, jobs?
That's a really good point. I mean, and here's the thing too, Steve, is right now, investors need to take stock of where the heck they're even headed, right? Like, I need to know, am I going here or am I going here? And if I don't have that picture in place, then it doesn't matter what I do. I could be doing Airbnbs, buying and holding. I could be investing in Detroit or Atlanta. I could be doing flips, major wholesaling. But what's the goal? So I think we have to start the conversation with ourselves now. We can't start the conversation with ourselves December 31st, right? Like, that's too late. And so I'm excited about Baltimore because you're going to be there. And quite frankly, I'm excited to have this conversation with you. And if you're listening, you're watching, you're paying attention, and you're like, geez, I've maybe done one or two deals and I need that extra guidance. Like, I need to know, like, what a good gut feel looks like, feels like, sounds like, and what I should be paying attention to. You need to get to Baltimore, and you need to make sure you hang out with Steve. And the best way to do that, get your tickets, go to thinkrealty.com/Baltimore. I know it's a great call to action. I know that's kind of selfish for me because I want to meet you too, right? Like, I want to meet Steve. I want to meet you coming out. But more specifically, I've always been an advocate for the right type of financial intelligence. And there are a lot of people in America that just don't have it. And you could be following all the TV shows about how to flip and do all this stuff. And you can even find people on Instagram that are saying, yay, go flip, or yay, go buy and holds. But I mean, what the heck is your objective? Like, let's be honest. There's so much opportunity and there's way too much money out there right now. So we have to hone in on what matters. And that's what I appreciate about Steve and his team, and just a forward-looking methodology. And I completely agree with that. So Steve, you're going to be in Baltimore. You're going to be speaking in Baltimore. And how long is that flight from? So you're in Australia right now. How long is the flight from Australia to Baltimore? That just sounds crazy.
Well, I'm actually flying the plane. So the flight that I fly is it's Houston to Sydney. So it's a 17-and-a-half-hour flight to Houston, and then it's a quick 2-hour hop to Baltimore or something like that. But
nice.
I do this twice. I'm in here twice a month down in Australia. So it's funny because I get a lot of people that they're always asking me a lot of questions, but they're also giving me reasons why they can't do something. You get a lot. Oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could own real estate like you. I'm like, well, you can.
Yeah.
Well, no. And then, everything after that. And I said, well, you choose not to. That's a choice. You make that choice. It's like going to Think Realty, right? You could come and you could learn and you could educate and you could walk out of there a better investor and more educated.
Yeah.
Or you could choose not to and keep going what you're doing. And I tell people, if you're not willing to educate yourself and you're not willing to take that step, because what got you here is not going to get you there. And if you are not willing to educate yourself and surround yourself with a new set of people and people that are like-minded, you're going to have what you've always gotten. And so that's why I think these events, your event, the Think Realty, all of these things are great because, there's no formalized school to teach you. I'm there free, right? I dedicate my time to educating people. I have no ulterior motive except to be around like-minded people. And I want to meet people when I'm at these events because I want to elevate my game. And, I may meet someone that says, hey, let's do a deal together down the road. You never know where that flourishes. And that's why these events are so important to keep your education going and expanding your brain.
No, that's right. And what you should not do in Baltimore is ask Steve for a bunch of buddy passes, right? Like, that is just not companion passes, buddy passes. That is not the right etiquette, right? That's not the time or the place. That's not how you're getting good with Steve, right? Like, I've been there, and this is no, don't do it. You want to find value and you want to offer value. And if you want to enter the conversation, be ready for the conversation. And that's what I really appreciate about the Think Realty events. And that's why I love going to them. I love meeting people and vice versa. I mean, shaking some good hands and just sharing stories because we can really learn from each other. So Steve, we've got to wrap up here. What's a gold nugget that you'd like to share our listeners and our members and our audience, just kind of as a final thought?
Yeah, my final thought would be is every day you should become a blank canvas, in my opinion. And every day you should be willing to paint on that canvas of what you want to learn. And I know it sounds kind of, maybe too far-fetched or not realistic, but every day you are getting fed information and it's up to you what you do with it. And that information is only good if you have the proper destination of where you're going, and really sit and think about, before you come to this event, which everyone should come to, really think and ask, what is it I want to learn from this event? Who do I want to meet? And what is it I want as a result of it? So that when you go there, you're not just going there to hang out and have drinks and whatever it is. You're going there with focus and intention. And if you do that every day with focus and intention, by that, having that white canvas, and you're planning your day and you're structuring your life that way, you will grow exponentially fast, and you will be so much better. It's not hard, right? It's just 2-3 steps of opening up your brain and going, okay, who do I want to meet today? What do I want to do? And what's the result I want out of meeting this person? And you'd be shocked at how open people are. So I would say, come willing to learn, be willing to educate yourself, and every day have that reset, restructure, and you'd be amazed at what will flourish as a result.
Steve, listen, I appreciate the time. I'm excited to meet you in Baltimore as well. What's the best way, if our listeners and viewers want to get in touch, how can they do that?
Sure. If they want, they can follow me on Instagram. It's Rozenberg Steve, so it's Rozenberg Steve. Or they can go to Facebook, find me there, Steve Rozenberg. They can also, I have a Facebook group. It's called the Mastermind Real Estate Investment Club, which is just investors in there talking, challenging, having questions, asking questions. And if they want to know more about Mind and want to talk about property management and all the things that go along with that, and how we can help them in multiple markets, they can go to our website. It's MYND, so it's Mind, and it's .co, so it's mind.co, and you can go there and you can reach out to me that way as well. And again, we're all here to help each other. So anything I can do personally, reach out, and I'm always here to help and better the industry and better, our education level.
Awesome. Well, hey, I got you on Instagram, so I just followed you on Instagram.
Cool.
That's fantastic. And Steve, I'm looking forward to seeing you in Baltimore. It's going to be a lot of fun. Certainly appreciate the time today. Thanks so much for stopping by, man. And go to bed. It's 2:30 in the morning, man. But go catch some Z's.
I got to go to the gym now. Now it's time to get up and go to the gym. So you got to get it done, man.
I don't know how you do it, but well done. I will see you there, and thanks again for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You have a good day.
You got it. The next segment is brought to you by Residential Capital Partners, a leading hard money lender with a national scope and a local presence in each market they serve. Their partners and loan affiliates have flipped well over 1,000 properties themselves, and they know your business. Visit them today at residentialcapitalpartners.com. So let's talk about where America's moving. This is an article on realestateinvestingtoday.com written by Brad Beckett earlier this year, January 13th, 2020. And so Atlas Van Lines has an annual migration pattern report. And they said in 2019, there were 26 states registered as balanced, 13 as outbound, and 11 as inbound. The top 10 inbound states, including D.C., number 1, Idaho. Idaho. Is it like potatoes? Who wants to go to... Okay, apparently people are moving to Idaho, the state of Washington, North Carolina, New Mexico, Tennessee, Rhode Island, Arizona, Alabama, D.C., and Texas. Texas is number 10, which I thought was kind of interesting. Idaho is number 1. Yeah. If you all know why Idaho is number 1 on this list for the most top 10 inbound states, email me and let me know. I haven't figured out why yet. All right, top 10 outbound states. Number 1, New York. So people are moving out of New York. Number 2, West Virginia. Number 3, South Dakota. Number 4, Illinois, which I can understand Illinois, right? They've had a lot of issues in Chicago, and so we're seeing a lot of migration to Northwest Indiana, which is kind of interesting. Potential opportunity there, maybe ding, ding, ding opportunity. Number 5, Louisiana. It could be the crawfish, but don't take my word for that. Number 6, New Jersey. New Jersey, I can see New Jersey, people moving out of New Jersey, the Garden State. You're kind of chastised for not being a New Yorker. Right? So that's probably why. I'm just giving New Jersey a lot of crap right now. It's all right. Number 7, Delaware. Number 8, Nebraska. Nebraska's state motto is "We got dirt," so it makes sense. I would move out of Nebraska too. And number 9, Indiana. I don't know why. I like it. I like the state of Indiana. And number 10, Connecticut. It's just cold in Connecticut. Again, none of these reasons make any sense, so don't trust any of these reasons. I'm just having a little bit of fun. Those are those top 10 inbound, top 10 outbound states, and you can find that at realestateinvestingtoday.com. thinkrealtynation.com. Think Realty Nation, that's a wrap. Today's podcast was brought to you by Real Property Management, which is the largest residential property management franchise in North America, managing tens of thousands of properties for individuals, investors, and institutions throughout the country. You can learn more at realpropertymgt.com or calling 888-806-7088. Listen, you want to get to Think Realty Baltimore. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be there. Steve's going to be there, the guest on the podcast, on the show today. And you can get your tickets right now. What are you waiting for, right? Like, go to thinkrealty.com/Baltimore, get your tickets, and I'll see you there. Until next time, Think Realty Nation. Happy investing.